It started with a single text. I had been scrolling through my phone late at night when her friend, someone I'd met only a handful of times, sent me a photo from the Bachelorette party. My wife was in it, laughing, holding a cocktail, her eyes bright with excitement. I smiled at first. She deserved to have fun, I told myself. But then I noticed something. Her hand was resting on the shoulder of a man I didn't recognize. Just a casual touch, maybe, but something about the way she leaned in and the way he looked at her unsettled me. I pushed the thought aside, thinking I was reading too much into it. I trusted her. We had built a life together, a home filled with ordinary routines and small joys. I shouldn't let paranoia ruin that. Yet that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept imagining the photo, replaying it over and over, the subtle intimacy I hadn't seen before. The next morning, I tried to call her. Missed call. I sent a message. Had fun last night? Nothing. I waited. Minutes turned into hours. Finally, a reply came, almost offensive. Yes, everything was fine. Just tired. Fine? Just tired? That wasn't her usual energy. I shrugged it off again, forcing myself to believe it was nothing. But the feeling didn't go away. There were other signs. Small ones, easy to overlook. A sudden giggle over her phone that stopped the moment I entered the room. Quick messages that disappeared when I glanced. Her schedule suddenly more complicated. Nights out that seemed endless. Each incident alone was insignificant, but together they began to form a pattern I couldn't ignore. A week later, I got another unexpected text. Her friend had been drinking at another party and, in her drunken blur, tagged me in a story. I shouldn't have opened it, but I did. The video showed my wife, leaning close to that same man from before. They were laughing, their heads almost touching. His hand brushed hers, deliberately, and then I heard it. The friend's voice slurring in the background. "Oh my God, you and him again? You really can't help yourself, can you?" I froze. My stomach dropped. Everything I thought I knew, every memory I had of our life together, suddenly felt uncertain. I watched the video again, frame by frame, noticing the subtle touches, the way he looked at her with familiarity I didn't share. My mind raced. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I was overreacting. But the voice of that friend, accidental, unfiltered, made me realize I was imagining it. For days, I was in limbo. Part of me wanted to confront her immediately, to demand the truth. Another part was terrified of what I'd hear. I went over every interaction, every touch, every laugh we had shared recently. Did I miss something? Was I blind all this time? I felt guilt, confusion, and an anger that simmered quietly beneath the surface. Then came the moment I couldn't ignore. She came home late one night, smelling faintly of perfume I didn't recognize, humming a tune she had never sung before. I asked gently, "Had a good time?" She smiled, avoiding my eyes. "Yes, just with friends." But the tightness in her jaw betrayed her calm. I couldn't contain myself any longer. I showed her the video, watched her face pale, the color draining as realization hit. Her hands trembled. She opened her mouth to speak, then closed it. She swallowed, trying to compose herself. Finally, in a quiet, broken voice, she confessed. The man was someone from work. It had started months ago, a fleeting connection that had grown into something she couldn't, or wouldn't, resist. I listened in stunned silence. I wanted to scream, to throw things, to demand answers. But all I could do was sit, absorbing the truth that now hung heavy in the room. She explained herself, not as a villain, but as a person who had made terrible choices, as someone caught between guilt and desire. I heard the remorse in her voice, but it didn't undo the hurt. The days that followed were a haze. I replayed every memory, laughs, late-night talks, quiet touches, and felt the sting of betrayal in moments that once felt pure. I remembered small lies, hidden messages, moments she had brushed off my questions. Each memory now carried the weight of deception. I questioned everything, my judgment, my intuition, my worth. But amid the heartbreak, I found clarity. I realized that while love had brought me to her, respect for myself had to guide what came next. I couldn't stay in a life built on lies, no matter how much I still loved her. And so, with a heavy heart, I made the choice to walk away. The confrontation was quiet. No shouting, no dramatic revelations. I packed my things, leaving a note that was simple, honest. I love you, but I can't stay in a life without trust. Goodbye. I didn't wait for her to beg or explain further. I didn't want to hear excuses or apologies. I needed to reclaim myself. As I closed the door behind me, I felt a strange mix of sorrow and relief. The pain of betrayal was sharp, but beneath it, a growing strength I hadn't felt in months. I realized that knowing the truth, painful as it was, had freed me from illusions, from a quiet poison of doubt. Walking down the empty street, the cool night air brushing against my face, I let myself breathe for the first time in weeks. Memories of laughter still lingered, but they no longer held me hostage. I would grieve, yes, but I would rebuild. Piece by piece, day by day, I would find myself again. And in that moment, alone but steady, I understood something essential. Love is precious, but self-respect is survival. Betrayal may leave scars, but it cannot take away the strength to rise, to choose honesty, to reclaim life.